We'll call to order the June 24th Select Board meeting. Brian, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first job is to approve the minutes of the June 10th work session.
Make a motion that we accept the June 10th minutes as complete.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The June 10th, 2019 non-public work section minutes.
Make a motion we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the June 10th, 2019 regular meeting minutes.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The Select Board will meet on the following dates. Work session only, 5 p.m., Monday, July the 8th. Regular meeting, 6 p.m., Monday, July 22nd, 2019. Work sessions prior to the regular meeting will start at 5 p.m. All the above meetings will be held in the Town Hall unless otherwise posted. Town Hall will close at 3 p.m. on Monday, July the 1st, 2019 for staff training. Town offices will be closed on Thursday, July the 4th for Independence Day. Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify the Town Hall before 12 p.m. the Friday before the scheduled meeting. Alternate members are always needed to fill positions on the zoning and planning boards. If interested, please submit a letter of intent to the Plymouth Selectboard's office, 6 Post Office Square, Plymouth, New Hampshire, 03264. Tonight I'd like to read a letter of resignation from Barbara Small. Dear Chief LaFave, please accept this as a formal notice of my resignation from the position of Assistant to the Prosecutor at the Town of Plymouth Police Department, effective as of July 31st, 2019, being my last day of employment. After careful consideration, I have made the decision to resign in order to retire. Working for the Plymouth Police Department has been a wonderful experience that has afforded me many valuable opportunities to learn and grow. And I am grateful to have been a part of this organization. I wish you all continued growth and success in the future. Barbara Small. We need to...
Make a motion that we accept the resignation.
Regretfully, second.
Regretfully, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have some appointment letters to read. Ted Wisniewski, who has served on the Plymouth Advisory Budget Committee, has requested to be to continue in that position. We have a request from Brandon Pike. I wanted to reach out to you regarding an opportunity to be on the Advisory Budget Committee. This email serves as my letter of interest for a board member position. A little background about myself: I currently work full-time as a federal sales account manager at Red River Technology, working in the civilian division of the U.S. government. My primary accounts are FBI, NASA, U.S. Courts, Department of Commerce. My overall sales and marketing experience span across 20 years and include Fortune 50 and Fortune 1000 firms. As a marketing manager at PC Connection, I was responsible for $200 million of the company's top-line revenue. I have a track record of achievement and consider myself a powerhouse of energy. Along with this comes a proper mix of ethical attributes that a community leader should possess. Lastly, I am a family man, a volunteer for the U.S. Humane Society, a coach for youth Babe Ruth baseball, and former president of the Parent Teachers Association. Simply stated, I would like to give back to this community that I am so fortunate to be a part of. I believe that if given the opportunity, I could serve the committee well and look forward to discussing it further. Thanks again so much for your time. Best regards, Brandon Pike. FYI, Brandon first made his interest to serve known to town meeting and again verbally by phone. We also have a letter from Patrick Whitmore. I, Patrick Whitmore of 103 Morse Road in Plymouth, New Hampshire, am seeking appointment to the Advisory Budget Committee. George Michael Weaver. I am interested in serving on the Budget Committee. I'm a Plymouth resident and reside at 6 Tall Pines Road in Plymouth. I can be contacted at 603-536-3006. Thank you for considering this request. Since we have, I think, 2 positions open, we have 4.
Ted Wisniewski is a renewal, is seeking reappointment. So the other 3 are brand new.
Right. Okay. I stand corrected. So what we will do is we will set up an interview for these individuals, since we have more than the number we need. So we will contact them and set up appointments for interview. And then after that, and after our decision, then we will bring it to the town and announce it at the meeting. So thank you to all of those that sent letters in and wish to serve on the Advisory Budget Committee. Okay. Steve Lefebvre?
The purchase order you have before you is something you guys sign every year. It's for the licensing and maintenance software for police reporting and dispatch. And it should be noted that that purchase order is for fiscal year 1920, for not the one we're in right now.
Okay. Okay. You have the purchase order in front of you. Do we have any questions?
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of software maintenance through TriTech for $14,798.75.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Chief.
Joe? Good evening, again. Okay,
Trying to fix a duck pond on Highland Street. So I did 3 bids for this proposal to get to this point, and Mike Latour and then Andrews Constructions, and I feel that Dana White was the best choice. So looking to get this signed so I can get that taken care of. My goal is to get it done before school starts.
okay, any questions of the board? Mike?
Where's the ponding area?
Eco Electric, the old forestry building.
Oh,
The water comes down out of there, it has no place to go, and so we have to tie in a basin in his bottom of his parking, of his driveway, and tie it in down the road.
okay.
So we'll be going down the side of the road 200 feet to tie into a basin that goes out into the road. It was an awful mess this winter, and if you drive up there after it rains, you can't miss it.
Is this where the ice was piling up on the road this winter? Okay. Was there 2 spots, or was that the only one?
Well, I think there was 2, but I think they're connected. This one pushes it into the next driveway,
Oh, okay.
and then it just sits there,
All right.
so.
Is this going to affect just one lane of traffic when the repair's done?
Yes, the work's gonna be off the shoulder, so they're hoping to keep just 1 lane traffic. And they have their own traffic control.
I know people are going to ask.
Yep. This is should be only like a 1 day or 2 day at the most project. It's not
Okay.
it's not a big, long, drawn out process.
And it's when they're able to get there to do it?
As soon as I let them know, they're gonna try to put it on the agenda.
Okay.
I told them I was hoping to accomplish this before school started.
All right, awesome.
I make a motion that we approve the expenditures of $21,447 with DA White Excavating to fix the drainage issues on Highland Street.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, Kathy, you gonna handle the next one?
I am. So we're looking to acquire a new phone system. The phones that we have right now are about 20 years old, and quite frankly, they're tired. So we have some of them that don't even work anymore, so we really do need a new phone system to continue to serve our public properly. So we're seeking new system for the fiscal year 1920 from Signet in the amount of $8,369.85.
Any questions?
Is that the phones and the wiring?
Yes.
So
it's
new
the
phones?
whole thing, yeah.
You have any questions, Mark?
I make a motion that we approve the expenditures of $8,369.85 for the new phone system for the town hall.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have Neil McIver. You can come to the podium, or you can use that speaker there. What can we do for you, Neil?
If it may please the Board of Selectmen, I'm Neil McIver, and I'm coming forward with concerns about how a fraudulent illegal subdivision is being handled by the town. It's been a month since I was here, and you promised me that you would take appropriate action. I came in on Friday because I had never heard anything from the administration as to what your plans are, and time is dragging on. This illegal subdivision by Edith and Raymond Barlow to Robert Moitosa was done for fraudulent purposes, to hurt me and to harm me. And I wound up being taken to court by Moitosa, and it cost me an enormous amount of money, but I prevailed. And the judge ruled that they never owned the property. And that probably would have come out at a planning board meeting. But I've suffered a great deal because of this. And, you know, I've been trying for years to get the town to address this.
It's in the audience.
Brian?
Thank you. Is this live? Within 2 days after you brought this forward in public, Neil, I sent the Barlows a notice of violation, citing the planning board bylaws. And after consulting with the Board of Selectmen, offered them either the $1,000 fine and revocation of the subdivision, or a revocation of the subdivision first before the fine structure was in place. There were some questions that I had to volley back to town council concerning this. I got some answers today, and I will convey those answers to the Barlows. You're correct in your assumption. It's just a matter of finding out which way the Barlows would wish to have this proceed.
Is there a time frame?
Not being aware of what it takes to undo a recording at the county, I gave them up to 6 months.
I think what we can do is, once that's taken care of, we'll make sure you get a letter and get notice on that.
Oh, I'd like to have some correspondence.
Yep, we'll do that. So you can have that for your file.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
I was on the agenda for another issue.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The property at 85 Loon Lake Road, which belonged to the Clark Family Trust, which abuts my has a substantial amount of frontage on abutting my property. And I'm questioning the procedure that was used to sell. This property was taken for taxes, and I understood that the taxes owed were in excess of $20,000. And there's 4.21 acres which are subdivided into 2 house lots. And I find it difficult to understand why it wasn't made available publicly. I'm sure that I know a lot of real estate agents that call me all the time looking for properties to list, and I'm sure that you could have got your $20,000, but I went up and I found out that you deeded it to the Barlows, Raymond and Edith Barlow, and according to Grafton County deeds, they paid $1,000 for it. That's what's in the registry, on record. And I was sent a letter in February and told that the bidding would start at $35,000. I had to tear down the old house and I had to build a new house. And to me, that was like a non-starter. But I was interested at a reasonable price, and I never received another offer, although I found out that several of my neighbors did receive second offers. And then it was subsequently sold for, according to Grafton County records, for $1,000, and when the town really needed the money.
Excuse me just 1 minute. Kevin? Okay.
As I understand, John,
Right.
the price was not $1,000.
No.
No, the tax stamp might have reflected that, because the tax stamp is based on the fact that it was the municipality, so it was tax exempt, and we only have to pay a certain portion. So the $1,000 is usually related to the tax stamp. They did pay more than $1,000 for it.
I didn't see any tax stamp.
Okay. Well, I have a letter here from the town attorney. It says sale of tax deeded property, 85 Loon Lake Road. This letter responds to the questions that have been posed about the selectmen's authority and procedural compliance as to the sale of 85 Loon Lake Road, which was acquired by the town in 2018 via a tax deed due to non-payment of real estate property taxes. Plymouth has adopted two separate warrant articles. Article 8, set forth on page 71 of the 1994 town report, and Article 12 on page 81 of the 1999 town report, that authorizes the selectmen per RSA 8080 to sell real estate acquired by tax deed by public auction, advertise sealed bids, or in such manner as justice may require. In addressing the sale of 85 Loon Lake Road property after it had been tax deeded, the board properly first provided written notice to the property's former owner, the Clark Family Trust, care of Mary Davis, trustee, of the opportunity to repurchase the property. When the former owner expressed no interest in repurchasing the property, the selectmen then judged that offering the property for sale to the abutting property owners was the best way to proceed with the sale of the property, given that one of the conditions of sale was that the building on the lot must be removed. The selectmen received only one abutter bid for the purchase of the property, and the board took that bid and negotiated the final terms of the sale with this one bidder. Given board authority under RSA 8080 confers upon governing bodies to deal with the sale of property acquired by tax deed, and that the Plymouth Town Meeting had conferred upon the selectmen the full range of authorities set forth in RSA 8080, including, as justice may require authority, I believe the selectmen acted consistent with the authority conferred upon it, and consistent with state statutes in its sale of the 85 Loon Lake Road property to one of the abutters of the property. Signed, John J. Radigan.
I heard what you said, but I feel that there has been a flaw in your procedure in that I was never notified that you put it out to bid a second time, because you had no bids the first time.
Neil?
I was left out of the
I
process.
think this has to go into non-public, because this is
Yeah.
getting out of hand.
Okay.
I was left out of the process.
Neil, all butters were notified about this.
Are you in non-public now?
No, we're not in non-public, so, if
I
you-
was not notified. You submitted this a second time for bids.
We
We
did
didn't
not.
submit it a second time.
I have knowledge of second
Neil,
time.
what you can do is I'll give you John Radigan's phone number, and you can talk to John, and he can explain this whole thing.
I love to talk to him.
Okay.
What's his phone number?
What we'll do is,
You got his phone number?
yes, hold on.
I don't think he knows what the administration is doing.
Neil?
I was left out of the process. And this is very unfair.
Neil, you need to talk to John Radigan, because there was not any second consulting of any of the abutters.
I have proof that there was.
Neil, you call John Radigan.
I'll
You
call
talk to
him,
Yep, okay.
but I think this is a cover-up.
You're entitled to whatever you feel, Neil, but this is not gonna get settled in here. You need to call John Radigan and.
I'm sure it
proceed-
won't get settled here.
Proceed from there. Thank you. Sandra Jones. Would you like to, you can use that microphone there, or you can use the podium.
Is this okay, or would you like us to sit, or?
You can sit right here too if you want.
Why don't we sit, Gary? I'm going to invite Gary LeMay from the
Sure.
New Hampshire Electric Co-op. That way we can hand stuff out a little easier.
All right.
So we have an idea that we want to present. As you know, more and more people are driving electric vehicle cars and hybrids. And so we'd like to present the idea. Do you want to?
Go ahead.
We'd like to present the idea of a downtown Plymouth electric car charging station. Should I give you extra copies for the members that aren't here? Okay. So I'll give you 2.
Thank you.
This is just an outline of what we wanted to talk about. How much time do we have?
You have 21 minutes. No. Go ahead.
Because
Take as much
we
time.
get excited about anything energy or electricity or solar energy, as you know. Okay, so
Get charged up, huh?
we get exactly.
We hope to.
So
All
I'm,
right,
I'm the director of the Plymouth Area Renewable Energy Initiative. I've been before your board before.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary LeMay is from the New Hampshire Electric Co-op. And so we've been talking, and we would like to talk about the idea of a charging station for downtown Plymouth. Not many towns in the state have them, and we think Plymouth would be a good spot for one. So we want to just present our idea to you, chat about it for a minute, and go from there. So our next handout is where we think would be a good spot for the charging station. Down on Green Street at the Riverside Park. I'm never sure what the name of the park is. The town has an electrical account there. And a long time ago, Meredith Village Savings Bank Green Committee paid for the solar panel to be installed on the pavilion there, what I call the Gateway Pavilion, for lack of a better name. And the town pays for that electrical account, and it's a very small account because the park uses very little electricity. So we're proposing that that is a perfect spot for an electrical car charging parking space, because we could install a charging station, and Gary has a handout on what they look like. right there next to the parking meter. And so it would be connected to an existing account. And that existing account, actually, if I could have one more, we'll have packets for the ones that aren't here. I'll just hand 3 to you then, if that's okay. When an electrical charging station is installed, it's installed with a separate meter. So on the electric bill, you can see what the charging station is using. So if you look at the picture here, I'm sure everyone's familiar with this spot, but there's 3 free river access parking spaces, and where the gray car is parked, I'm sure to whited out the license plate, because it was just somebody from town.
Still there waiting for a charge?
Right, yeah, exactly. Where's that I heard something about a charging station. So they're parked in the first metered parking space next to, and this is the meter house there, the meter and the little electrical panel is in there. And the meter for the charging station could go on the side of that. But we're proposing that the charging station be installed right where the parking, those 2 parking meters are, and that the parking space where the gray car is in this photo would be the electrical vehicle charging station, which would be, the New Hampshire Electric Co-op would donate the sign to put there at the parking space.
And that's actually part of our, when we do an electric vehicle charger, we have a rebate for that for the commercial members. So it's 50% of the installed cost, and we provide one of these signs.
So who pays for the meter?
So currently, the town is paying the membership charge, so you're already paying that.
There's an existing account there now.
It's an existing
that
account.
The town is paying.
Right, I guess I meant this thing.
So our plan is to donate it to the town, New Hampshire Electric Co-op. We have a budget, we think it's gonna be somewhere around $2,800, $2,900 to install. Paray and the co-op and some personal donors and business donors. We're gonna be looking to them to help us raise that money. But it would be, the cost of the installation would be free to the town. Because we'd like to see the town have one, and we know there's members of the town that would be interested in having one, and so we'd like to make that happen. What I wanted to do is have Gary just talk for a minute about how the charger works. Gary has an electric vehicle himself, so it's able to
Sure.
give you a rundown on that.
So I've been with the co-op about 7 years. I've been driving a plug-in hybrid for a little over 7 years, different ones. And are any of you familiar with electric vehicles at all?
Not, I haven't ridden in one or,
Well, we'd love to have you, at the co-op, we've been, I came to the co-op to help work on these programs, and we have been having electric vehicle drive electric events at the Common Man in Plymouth the last 2 years in September during National Drive Electric Week. We've been, I started with a pilot program I did for the co-op about 6 years ago at some of our commercial members that were hotels where, people stayed overnight. And we've got 7 or 8 of those installed. We've been offering the commercial rebate to our members for 2 or 3 years now. Again, we pay 50% of the installed cost, up to $2,500. Any commercial account can have 2 per location per year. In this instance, we're talking about around a $2,800 cost. The co-op, we would pay for 50% of that right from our rebate program. So that means you only got to raise about $1,400. We also have a program at the co-op where our employees can volunteer their time to help different community events. Like we helped with the Parade Community Solar Array last year. We helped with Day of Caring. So we would utilize some of that along with the Parade people to work on this charger. Several towns around the state, again, electric vehicles are growing fairly rapidly, actually. The co-op, we know that we were ahead of the curve 2 or 3 years ago when we started promoting these, but people are having a hard time getting them these days because they're becoming so popular. So basically how this would work is that we would install this charger. It would still be at your parking meter that people would have to pay for. And the power that comes into that meter now, if you don't know, you've been running a credit with the power at that meter from the solar array on the little, I don't know what you call it, little gazebo or the walkway in, there's a solar panel. I don't know what you call
The
it.
It's the
entrance
town's
gate.
only solar panel,
Yeah.
100 watts.
So it's been running a surplus, and this would be a way to utilize some of that. There is, the meter, we actually install a separate meter at every electric vehicle charger location. This is because I worked 42 years at public service before I came to the co-op. If you don't meter it, you don't know, and people exaggerate and make all kinds of crazy ideas on what it's using. So the thing that would change on the bill is at the bottom of the bill, there would be a line item that says EV charger, and you would see exactly how much power is going through that meter every month. There's no additional meter charge, there's no extra cost on a monthly basis at all from the co-op. The power usage, again, is going to be the power usage. So that's what we're proposing. Electric vehicles, I've got some other handouts here I can give you, and sorry, but I could feed you through a fire hose because I'm a big EV advocate here. I don't want to do that, but I'll pass out. Various vehicles use different amounts of power. I have a plug-in hybrid because when they first came out, there wasn't really any long-range electric vehicles out there. So I've got a plug-in hybrid, which is a Chevy Volt. I had a Chevy Volt before that, and I had a plug-in Prius before that. My Chevy Volt with the V, not the one with the B, it has a battery on it that holds 16 kilowatt hours. That 16 kilowatt hours will get me 65 miles today on a warm day and closer to 40 miles in the winter. So it's a way that you can do most of your commuting on electricity. When you drive on electricity, it's usually about half the price of running on gasoline. The Chevy Volt at 32 miles per gallon with gas, okay, what's a gallon? 250, 239, somewhere in there.
Yep, 239.
239. If you charge that same 16 kilowatt hours, let me back up a little bit. Let's talk the battery size. To drive 32 miles, all electric vehicles get between 3 and 4 miles per kilowatt hour. So if you took the 32 and divided by 4, you come up with 8 kilowatt hours to drive the same distance as you would with a gallon of gas. Current electric rates are around 15 cents. So the electric price is about $1.20 versus $2.39. Plus with electric vehicles, you really, I had my last Volt, I had 70,000 miles on, I had not reached my second oil change, and I never needed to change any brakes. And that's very typical. So they're catching on. We think, as a co-op, this being our headquarters, we would love to see an electric vehicle charger downtown. I know I come to events at the Silver Center, I come to the restaurants. People that drive electric vehicles would like to be able to, while they're having dinner or something, charge. Your charging, for most people, is done at home at night. If you look at all the charging of electric vehicles, 80% of it is done at home at night. And the other 20% is done between what we call destinations, like, again, going to the Silver Center, going to a restaurant, or if you're traveling distances.
They have them at the Hooksett.
Hooksett has Tesla chargers there.
That's only for,
That's only for Tesla, because Tesla paid the money.
who paid for the ones at the Common Man?
The Common Man up here in Plymouth, they paid, we gave them the same $2,500, up to $2,500 match. They paid the difference to have it installed as an amenity for their guests.
And that would be able to serve your Volt.
Yes, that serves, every electric vehicle can use, what we're talking about here in those spec sheets is called the J1772 charger. It's just a configuration of how the plug works. Every electric vehicle sold in the United States can use that same. That's a universal charger. If you own a Tesla, you get a little bag of attachments, and they have an adapter to go from the Tesla has a proprietary plug because nobody wanted to pay for the charging network with them. So they have a plug that'll go from the J1772 into their car.
And the cost to charge with this universal charger is 6 kilowatt hours, 6 kilowatt hours
It depends,
for
every
an hour
vehicle.
of charging.
Yeah, it depends on, yeah, I mean, it depends on the vehicle and how much charge it can use. Each vehicle has a different size charger, but this charger we're talking about is a 40 amp charger. It'll only put out 32 amps. So the charger or the vehicle will decide how many kilowatt hours it's gonna take. Neither one will ever exceed the limit of the other. So you could use 6 kilowatt hours with the right charger and the right vehicle,
As an example.
as an example.
And as far as paying for that, there's a couple examples. The common man pays for the cost of that electricity for their guests. It's not a space that's open to the public. The city of Durham, their energy commission, I think, has a budget for paying for their electrical charging station. Again, because they're adopting a new, it's a new technology, and they want to do that. They want people to know that there's one in town.
Right.
And there's other things that we could do too, so we could
Yeah,
talk
Durham
more about
has
that.
2 electric vehicle chargers downtown and one at the library. I don't know exactly how it's paid, but when you charge downtown, because I have a charge point card, which is, it's kind of like having a Visa card or a Citgo card or, any kind of credit card. The one in Durham, you have a card that you swipe. So I actually pay when I charge there. But that takes a much more sophisticated charger that has a lot of fees.
That would have been one of my
Yeah,
questions.
that has a lot of fees to it, so I'm waiting for the charging technology to evolve another little bit, because, and it's getting there, but, so the Town of Durham Energy Committee put that in. I've talked to the guy who did it. They were charging $1 an hour for parking there, and if you parked there, you could charge for the same price. So that's kind of what we're talking here to get started. Your meters down there are 25 cents an hour. If somebody's parked there, they should be paying. I've driven electric vehicles, like I said, for a long time. I never got free gas from anybody, and I don't expect to get free electricity. In this case, because the charger technology isn't quite there, this is an opportunity for you to get something started on a monthly basis so you can see how much it's using. If the solar panels aren't making enough or aren't keeping up, you could decide to change things. So and eventually we're gonna have a charging head that you can probably bolt in the same pole that we're talking about, that you should be able to have your cell phone, talk to the charger, charge your account just like EasyPass does. But it's not, the technology's not quite there yet.
So this is a good first step to install something very basic. You've got, your infrastructure would be installed, and because it's metered separately, the town can really see, how it's going and if people are using it, and anecdotally hearing, is it bringing any new people to town? Because one of the things we want to make you aware of is we're going to pass around a map that all EV vehicle owners
is a map.
look at regularly.
This is called PlugShare,
This
which
is
is
one
an
of several.
app for your phone. So if you're driving an electric vehicle, if you have a Tesla, they've got their own app. ChargePoint has its own app, but I like PlugShare. And you can see we clicked on the Common Man one just to show you what, if you click on a dot, what's there. And if you look on the left side of it, it's got a little bit of information about what the charger is, and people get to
Interesting.
put comments down there. What I like about PlugShare is if a charger isn't working, people are very quick to put it on there. But they also are very quick to put nice comments. Most people driving electric vehicles know that it's a new technology, relatively new. Again, I've been driving one for over 7 years. But they're grateful for the chargers, and they'll try and accommodate the owners and be glad for it.
And there's also a Google app, or not even app, they just started, where you can search for electric vehicles. You can say restaurants nearby. There's one that you can do electrical charging stations nearby. So we like the idea of calling it the Downtown Plymouth Charging Station. So that's what's coming up on the apps and the maps. And the DOE also has a website where they post it. And as part of the project, we would do all that legwork to put that on the maps and make sure it's all.
All the sites, so we've
Laid
got
out.
the Common Man Plymouth, we got Church Landing in Meredith, we got the Red Jacket in Conway. We got the Woodstock Inn, we got the Indian Head Inn, the Bernerhoff. There's a hotel over in Conway that's got either 2 or 4 chargers. These are commercial installations already. There's the Google app. There's also a new, I'm going to a meeting Friday in Dover with the state of New Hampshire, the Granite State Clean Cities Commission. They're rolling out I wish I could remember the name, but basically it's similar to what you just said. They're tying restaurants into electric vehicle chargers that just, hey, we're EV friendly and we'd like you to come by. And again, the same thing can happen here.
Right, that's our idea, is that the restaurants could say, there's an EV charging station nearby, and fine print on their website or whatever. So we just thought, starting with one, eventually it would probably need to grow as this industry grows and the demand grows. I wanted to mention that Paray would love to see more solar power on that pavilion. If you check it out in your, I think we have a picture in there. Oh, you can't, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this one here with the solar.
Yeah.
There's room for 5
3
times as much power on that roof. So what we'd like to do is work on developing a grant of some sort through Meredith Village Savings Bank again, and put more power on that roof, because we'd like to think that the town's not going to be paying any money for offering this service, and we think additional solar power would ensure that.
And electric vehicle owners love saying they're putting sunshine in their car. That's kind of one of the little things.
So it would say right in the description, powered by solar, which we think might bring someone to Plymouth instead of Woodstock when they're
that's
doing their
right.
search on the way up the highway.
We had, 2 weeks ago, we had an EV cruise night at the 104 Diner in 104 in New Hampton, Meredith Line. We did it last year. This was the second year we did it. We had 25 electric vehicles there, and from 3 o'clock until 6:30 when we got downpoured, we didn't stop talking. I'm part of the Drive Electric New Hampshire group. I'm on the Senate bill committee that's looking at, we're trying, Friday we've got a Senate bill meeting to talk about having the utilities help support an electric vehicle charging corridors in New Hampshire, because we are, Maine has them, Vermont has them, Mass has them, and Canada has them. And we've got a map that shows we're kind of the missing link. And the Drive Electric group is pretty strong, but at RibFest, I think it was 2 weeks ago, RibFest was down at the Anheuser-Busch facility in Merrimack. And some of the EV people that I work with, they agreed to let them have a booth there, or space, whatever you want to call it. And they were overwhelmed for all 3 days with over 300 people just yakking it up, talking about EVs. EVs are sold mostly by electric vehicle owners. The dealers are, you got to learn a little more. It's a little more technical. You got to make people comfortable with it. But so the owners are very willing to share. When we've had these events at the Common Man, last year we were really pushing all the space up in their parking lot, and people were very interested. And I know that after the one at the 104 Diner, a lady, a co-op member, drove from New Durham to that event, drove the Nissan Leaf, tried some other vehicles, and went and bought a Nissan Leaf that goes 210 miles the next day. EVs aren't for everybody yet, but if you've got one in the family and you really got to go on a long trip and you don't have a gas-powered plug-in hybrid, you can utilize those. So. I've got some, you guys interested? This is a magazine that tells you the plug-in electric vehicles available today, and it has a description on each one. If you'd like one, I'd like to share them with you.
Be great. Which charging station do you propose goes? Because there's a bunch of different ones.
We're talking about the HCS 40 ruggedized.
Is it the level 2, like the power?
It's all a level 2. I'm sorry, I didn't mention
Okay.
that.
And level 2 just means there's
Level 2,
Two
so
charge-
a level 1 electric vehicle charger means you're just using a
What's this one?
120 volt outlet. No, it could be any one of those. These are all level 2 that we're talking, and what they use is basically either 208 or 240 volts, like your fridge, your dryer wood at home, your water heater, your electric stove, air conditioners, the big ones. And that's the service you have at that the little atrium or whatever you call that place.
So I guess what I'm But what I'm asking is it going to look like, which one would it look like?
We're looking at the one in the middle that's the taller one there.
Uh-huh.
I probably should.
And it would just have one hose.
Right, if you look, we're looking at using this one here in the middle, taller one, just so you can all see. But with only a charger on one side. And the reason for that is this one here has a little bit of a spring that pulls the cord up, so that when somebody's done charging, it keeps it off the ground.
Stays up, yeah.
So it's a little more expensive. At the co-op, we have 3 electric vehicle chargers, one for the Chevy Bolt that we bought as a pool car, and 2 for employees, and as employees, we do pay to charge. But we have 3 of these Clipper Creeks. We actually have a 50 amp one, but 50 and 40. The one we propose is a 40 amp charger, which means it outputs 32 amps. But we chose that because it's what's called ruggedized. It's got a little thicker cord. It's got a little tougher nozzle that plugs into the car, and it's just a little beefier. And we felt that was the right one. And in all honesty, it's not much more money. And again, it's all going to be fundraised.
What's the maintenance on these things?
You know, the ones that, the Common Man, Red Jacket, those have been installed for at least 5 years. There's been no maintenance at all. You know, the ones, I've had one at home for a long time with no maintenance. You know, the Clipper Creek, there are other brands out there, I'll be honest with you, but the Clipper Creeks have been around since, if everybody remembers the old EV1, the Chevrolet car, the first electric vehicle in the 90s, I think it was. Clipper Creek was actually making the chargers for them back then. And I've met with their representatives. It's a very simple device. It's a circuit board, a relay. There's no buttons to push. You can see lights, but there's no buttons to push. I think it's even simpler than the one at the Common Man, but their electrician chose that. So there really shouldn't be any maintenance. I know that Clipper Creek said that when the EV1 changed, they basically changed the cord because there was a different plug on the end, and those units 20 years later were still running. So we wouldn't expect any, but we did put the retractable cord holder in there to keep it off the ground.
Yep. Okay. Well, what would you like to, Mike?
So I have some comments, and then it may be a little disappointing, but maybe there's some good parts at the end that I can give you for feedback. First off, I'm the rep for the Select Board on the Economic Development Committee. So we put together a plan. We had feedback from the community, and we invited some key people in the community to come in and talk. Besides property taxes are too high, the biggest thing overwhelming were the business owners downtown talking about the lack of parking. And I said, don't we want to market ourselves? And they go, no, we don't want to market ourselves. We want parking. So from that Economic Development Committee, the Select Board decided to have a parking committee, which I then became the rep for the Select Board for that committee as well. We also had a downtown committee, and I thought, boy, this is a good chance to again try and slip in some marketing to bring more business for the downtown businesses. They didn't want any more business. They didn't even want to talk about it. They kept bringing the conversation back to parking and talking about people drive through Plymouth once, twice, and then they go to a different community, they believe, and don't end up parking. So there is a cost, and we have businesses that have rented out spots. There's one in front of the town hall that's been rented. They rent on a yearly basis. There's several others that businesses rent that's convenient for their employees from the town, and the town generates income from that, because if we were to just give that to someone, it would be a lot of pushback for the town. So not only is there costs for that particular spot, it's prime downtown parking. So that would make me pretty hesitant about that area. And what the parking committee in Plymouth is looking at is where can we find more parking spots? That's at least get the town, the employees of the stores away from the downtown area so that the shoppers can come in and shop.
Right.
It's a huge issue. You would not imagine, unless you own a shop right there in Plymouth, every community has their issues. It's parking, and they're not making any more parking spots in Plymouth. So we've studied at length what we can do. We've got a couple of solutions. We're at phase 1 that we're working on right now. That area that we're talking about where the,
Yeah, where the park.
Right.
Riverside Park, yeah.
we're working on a plan now in that area to find more parking spots. But saying all that, I think that there's a much better spot that will serve your purposes and be, because I agree that it's only, I'd love to have an electric tractor if I could. But I think that it's just going to continue to grow in the next 100 years, who knows? But I see it going in that direction. I think there's a spot that I'll talk to you after, or I can slip you a piece of paper where to go. It would still be in the downtown Plymouth area, but it would not impact straight in the middle, where the most pressure for parking spots is going on.
The key thing is to have the electrical account there.
Yep.
Okay.
So and it might be a private individual. I'm not sure if it has to be the town.
Not necessarily.
So I think I can give you,
Right.
I think I can give you a couple of different names, because I know that it's kind of, I put my brain around the whole center of town now. So I think I can give you a couple of names, and I think there's a chance that you can make it work really well.
That's why we wanted to come and discuss this and
I don't know if,
start the conversation.
any thoughts, Kathy?
I don't know if this wouldn't take a spot away. Someone's still paying for it to park there. I'm not sure what you're saying though, Mike, I guess.
Well, I'm not sure whether, there's a lot of pressure for each parking spot that anybody could park there, electric or not electric. But if it's only designated for cars that need that plug,
Well,
and it would stay empty the rest of the
That's
time.
that was something I wanted to discuss, because would the co-op with your rebate require that be an EV parking spot only?
No, but usually you.
Preferred.
Usually you'll paint the spot and make it preferred, but.
If someone,
Yeah.
say someone parked there, and then the spot next to it opened, somebody who had an EV car that's a long cord, could reach
Cord.
over and plug it in.
Right.
2 or 3.
I mean, you
Still
are,
paying for a spot, and it's
Yeah.
close enough, so.
and if it could be either one, that certainly is an option. I mean, again, our goal, or my goal, will be to see something downtown for plug-in for more people. So that one spot, you could put it in between two and go either way if the plug is available, and if in the future there was enough usage, you could add a second charging head, as you saw on some of those diagrams. But it could go either way. We're not, I guess I'd have to look through our rebate forms, whether
If
we require that it be designated. Are we out there enforcing this? Absolutely not.
Because I know if there's a space that's open, I can tell you right now who's going to be parking there, because they've got to rush, not anybody specifically.
Yeah.
Right.
But they want to rush to their class for the next 4 hours or 3 hours or hour and a half. I can tell you exactly every single time that's open, who's going to be taking it.
Well, I mean.
It's just one of the issues in downtown
You-
Plymouth.
Could you raise the price on that spot?
To change the meters in
I mean,
what
just
you're
the wire.
charging, there's a cost involved that makes it so that it's prohibited from changing the meters.
Yeah, I didn't mean change the meter, I mean just change, instead of being 25 cents an hour, maybe make that one 50 cents an hour or $1 an hour.
There is a cost to changing that, which is prohibited.
Again.
Really?
Well,
It's not something the town could,
We looked at that. We're still studying what we
Okay.
want to do. But there is a cost that we know that, to change a meter.
so is it possible that this discussion continue with the parking committee? It sounds like that might be the,
Do that, plus
Place
there's
to
a
do it.
couple of select board members that aren't here.
right.
So when we have that work session on July 8th,
Okay.
can be discussed.
address it then.
And I'll pass you,
Mike can get you that information too.
I've got my cards if anybody wants them.
One
I
of
know
my,
you all
one of
know.
my thoughts was,
Sandra.
Sure.
have you ever had, most of these that I see that you're putting out are in front of businesses and stuff, but that's pretty isolated area down there. I was wondering if there might end up being some vandalism or something.
Vandalism is always a concern with everything we do. and
Right,
we've
right,
done
yeah.
pretty well with the
Right.
solar panel down there, and the conduit hasn't been affected.
Okay.
It's always a concern
And, yeah,
anywhere.
we haven't had any in the ones that we've installed. I mean, some of them aren't right out in front of the common man one's kind of in the front there. The one at the Woodstock Inn is right in front. Some are a little, you know, we haven't had any issues with them. I was concerned about cords getting run over or ripped off, or, you know,
Yep.
kind of like gas hoses get ripped off. We haven't had any of that. So,
Okay.
but it's always possible, correct?
What we'll do is, we'll take this up with the board, and Mike can get you that information
and
and
it
get
doesn't
with the
have to
parking
be
committee.
solar panel for this to be plugged
No.
into, does
No,
it?
no, we just thought that made that spot an even
Right.
better.
It enhanced the
It
whole
enhances the
situation.
situation, right.
Do you have enough handouts, I think, for whoever's not here?
I did, I gave them,
Yes, thank you.
okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you.
We
It was
appreciate any thoughts.
Very
Sorry,
interesting.
Where's that? Where's the location?
Oh, I can,
Okay, call.
let me give you my number and I'll,
Okay. Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for the time.
and we
Very
definitely.
interesting,
you could
thank
tell-
you.
We don't have any scheduled parking committee meetings right now. We came up with a phase one of what we'd like to see with 3 items, and the
Okay.
town is addressing those right now. But when we do have meetings, we could include you as well.
Okay.
Is there a timeline for the rebate, or is it just kind of open?
We've been
the
offering the
program?
rebate for the last 2 years. We expect that we will, the electric vehicles and electric heat pumps are part of what's called beneficial electrification from our viewpoint at the co-op. So I would say, we haven't passed next year's budget, and, you know, you never say never till it happens, but I fully believe it'll be available next year also. Again, we tried it as a pilot 4 or 5 years ago when I did it, and I actually went to places to talk to them. So no, I think you'll see it out there.
All right. Well, appreciate your
Thank you.
time. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much for your time.
Mm-hmm. All right. True. All right. Committee reports?
So as the parking committee rep, we've been talking with Mike Vignali about the Plymouth Inn site for potential parking. And Mike did get back with a conceptual design that could allow 15 spots on that site, with an entrance from the upper side, not from South Main Street. And I then asked for an estimate of what it might cost to install those 15 spots. He did get back to me, and probably we can discuss it a little bit more. But it was somewhere less than $90,000, his estimate.
Wow. Okay. Brian?
Yeah, just a quick update for the Parks and Rec Commission. The commission met with our guests from our last meeting about the use of spot spray and chemicals on the town common. It was a nice meeting the commission had with them. The commission asked questions. It was a nice discussion. The result being Larry and the commission are looking into the cost and other options besides the chemicals being used, kind of just an ongoing, investigative discussion that we're going to try and come up with. So just a quick update on that.
Okay, I had none. All right, public comments. Yes, you want to step up there and give us your name?
Hi, yeah, my name's Jeff Hale. I'm from out on 88 Slate Lane. Brian's been a frequent visitor. So, and I'm actually here tonight I'm sorry that these guys left, because I wanted to come down to support their recommendation for EV charging station. I'm an EV owner. I have been, and it's all electric. It's not hybrid. It's I plug it in at night. And I've got a 1 hour commute or 2 hours round trip every day, so I've got about 18,000 miles on this vehicle. And I, first of all, wanted to start out by commending the great work that both of these organizations do. I've been associated over the years off and on with Parai. I've been a customer of the co-op since 1990, and I've taken full advantage of their EV program. But I've also brought my car to the 3 events that he mentioned at the Common Man and the 104 Diner, and this electric utility is so far out in front of the rest of the industry, the for-profit folks, in the support for EV infrastructure. And I know it gets a little mind-numbing when you try to sort through the numbers, but to understand if it's really, what the value is. The number that I use is I still have my old beater Camry, and it gets pretty good. It's still pretty fuel efficient. But if I figure conservatively 25 miles to the gallon, it's costing me 10 cents a mile just for the energy input to drive that car. It's costing me, compared to 2.5 cents a mile to drive my EV. And I haven't even started talking about the difference in maintenance. I'll spare you that part. But when you add that in, this car's got a third of the moving parts. The drivetrain has 17 moving parts in the drivetrain. And it is when I bought the car, I first got the car in just after Labor Day, and as I say, I've got about 18,000 miles on it, and I was the first one this is the first one that I'd seen in the state when I bought it. Now that I see 3 a day. It's growing. People come in, people are showing up, and they're getting it, and without any, with very little advertising, you see, compared to the conventional internal combustion engines. So they're going to show up, and they will be those customers those downtown shopping customers in greater numbers that are looking for those coveted parking spaces. I understand that problem, that dilemma, but I would also encourage the town to get behind this and get in front of the curve and anticipate that you start with one as soon as that happens, you're going to need 6. Okay, and no, they don't have to be on Main Street. I'll walk a couple of blocks, but you do have to have them. They have to be dedicated. I'm sorry, you can't share these. It's like handicap parking. You really, if you try what you were talking about, you're going to have hostility. It's going to happen. But anticipate the growth. It's the future. I know it's the future because the people who get most excited about riding in my car are my grandkids and their friends who can't wait to go for a ride. And it's a totally different experience. But the idea that you can plug in a car and not spew all this crap into the air. I'm sorry, cross that one out. But that we're reducing our carbon footprint. My 10-year-old grandkids get that. Yeah. They're getting it in school, and so it's here to stay. And so I just wanted to.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I support these people all the way. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Do we need to go into non-public?
Yes, we do.
All right. We have a motion.
I make a motion, we go into non-public in accordance with RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, A, personnel, B, hiring, C, reputation, D, real estate, E, lawsuits, I, emergency preparations, and L, legal advice.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.